A town is full of buildings, some tall, some short, some wide, and some narrow. Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in this town. They live with Mary's mother and father in this tall block of flats. They live right at the top. There are 8 flats built on top of each other. Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in the flat with the flowers growing in the window box. There's Mary. There's Mungo. And there's Midge.
This is a message from the office of the Chief Caretaker. We have experienced some technical difficulties with the following podcast, and you may experience some sound disturbances. But please do not be alarmed. A cleaning robot has been dispatched to deal with those to deal with the problem. Nothing to see here. Please go about your business.
This is Time Ram, the Doctor Who podcast takes a mismatched combination of Doctor and story and rams them together into a sort of sci-fi bubble and squeak. And if you don't know what bubble and squeak is, Google it. I'm Paul Ferry, and joining me in the virtual auditorium today are Barry Williams.
Hello.
And Rupert Booth.
Hello there.
See, I mixed that up. I did them backwards there. I did them in reverse alphabetical order.
Ooh.
I appreciate it.
That's the kind of podcast this is.
You live wild, don't you? You've changed. You're
Fuck
dangerous.
out that old alphabet. We don't need it. Fuck you, ABC.
I'm so wild, my internet keeps cutting out. That's how wild I am.
Yeah, we're all on the edge tonight.
We are. Yeah. So if we just suddenly start covering for Paul and he goes quiet, it's because he's scintillated too much.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
internet's broken. You only get that kind of scintillation with Time Ram.
Tonight's Doctor is number 4, Tom Baker, and our story is number 145, Paradise Towers. What do we think of that?
I'm immediately thinking season 17, Graham Williams era.
I thought Hinchcliffe,
Interesting.
and then you'd get a really nice job on it. It would suit it.
Yeah.
The setting suits it.
Mm.
If we make it Hinchcliffe, it could be really good. If we make it Graham Williams, it's going to look like the Sunmakers, yet be Paradise Towers on top of that.
Two things drew me to Graham Williams. I mean, first would be kind of the social satire aspect.
And
And the other one would be simply Richard Breyer's so full on, over the top. I was immediately pulled to Graham Crowden in Horns of Nymon.
We've all immediately been pulled to Graham Crowden at some point in our lives.
I'm frequently pulled to Graham Crowden.
Fortunately, not by listener.
Leela and the Kangs worked really well.
Yeah, again, you see the girl gangs, the Kangs. You're not going to get that in Hinchcliffe era. They're all going to be boys.
Sorry, listener. I tried to make this a decent story, but it's not going to happen. It's on them. You heard them. It wasn't me.
So we're thinking Fourth Doctor and Romana. I'm guessing Romana 2 or Romana 1?
I prefer Leela.
Or Leela.
Yeah, Leela works better with the Kangs.
I think Leela. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I've forgotten
Sticks
Leela.
it square in season 15.
Mhm.
And I think it's going to take the place of the Sunmakers because it's the social satire story. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Or we could replace it with Horror of Fang Rock, in which case it's entirely made in Birmingham.
Sorry, Paul, you said something there, but I don't know what it was.
I just said Birmingham. That's why I just said Birmingham in a crap Birmingham accent.
Birmingham.
Or in a Croatan accent, one of the two.
So anyway, so we're definitely in season 15 now.
All right, season 15, yeah. So around about Sunmaker's kind of.
I think Sunmaker's Underworld type. I think it fits the Sunmaker slot.
Yeah.
We generally we assign the general crew and things from the story we pick, don't we? So it's got Pennant Roberts directing.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Tony Snowden doing the sets, but he's got no money at all. I mean, at all.
Yeah.
So to me, that's just taking away the one positive aspect of the 1987 Paradise Towers.
The sets are pretty good. Yeah, they're well dressed. They look good. Yeah.
However, we do have Tom Baker, so all right, swings and roundabouts.
Tom Baker and Leela. Is K9 in it, or are we leaving K9 in the TARDIS?
K9's in it. K9's got to be in it. K9's going to take on a cleaner, of course.
Of course, yeah.
It's going to be the pirate planet a year early.
It felt like a decade in the 70s.
It did. Oh God, the cleaners are going to be horrible.
A very slow robot chasing another very slow robot.
Yeah.
It starts off with a scene in the TARDIS, and in the original version, it's Mel who's extremely excited about a swimming pool on the top floor of Paradise Towers. Some might say overly excited.
She's mental about it. When I was watching it just before, when they finally get to it, Pex is quite reasonably going, yeah, a bit dangerous around here, isn't it? And Mel's going, can't wait to get out of through him. Yeah, Pex is not running away going, yeah, you're mad, woman.
It's just a very ordinary swimming pool. There's nothing about it.
It's very
that stands
ordinary.
out.
And there's kind of a better one in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Just use that, Mel. What's wrong with you?
They explain that. They say the one in the TARDIS sprung a leak.
Right.
So, there's a line about that. Yeah.
I think it's just the Doctor's got really irritated with Mel already. Is going, well, I tell you what, you go and do that. And I've got into, I know. I'll go and sort out that place where Caragnon's being a bastard. Then she can spend all her time kicking golf, have a subplot, and I can have a bit of peace.
So if we transpose that, we're thinking Leela wants to have a swim. Does that work?
She is the only person you see ever using the TARDIS swimming pool.
It's true. She's got four. Yeah.
Although Sontaran very nearly does.
Yeah.
So but I don't buy it, honestly. I don't buy that Leela's wanting to go for a swim that badly, and I don't buy that the Tom Baker Doctor's bothered to take her to Paradise Towers to find a swimming pool. He'll take her to Bognor. It'll be 25p in the local one, half an hour, swim back and forth, attack some residents and back off in the TARDIS again. Job. There's your swimming thing done.
Well, the bad news is that when they arrive, it's in a very shitty kind of courtyard.
We can't just gloss over why they're going there, or are they just going there? They're just land. Yeah, they're just.
Well, I was hoping we'd kind of work it out as we went along.
Well, they just materialize, don't they? They just randomly land like an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just they're playing chess. He and K9 are playing chess or something. It's one of those comedy opening scenes with them playing chess and K9 being better and the Doctor going all their huff and Leela going, look, yeah, the console's doing things, guys.
Yeah, I want to swim.
This is the Doctor. Present time, the High Council of Tylos. Keeper of the legacy of Rassilon. Defender of the laws of time. Protector of Gallifrey.
So they're immediately confronted by red Kangs. I should probably mention we've already seen one Kang. We see the last yellow Kang die in the kind of the opening scene. So we know there's something sinister going on.
Yeah. And I think that scene was shot in that massive long corridor in the Sunmakers on film. That big long white corridor. It looks like THX, This is going to be 70s bleakness rather than 80s razzmatazz.
Yeah, it's quite grim, that corridor, isn't it? Yeah.
So I think we're on location for scene one.
And the Kangs have got quite entertaining names like Bin Liner and Fire Escape.
I bet there's one of them just right at the back that's called Susan or something.
There's a scene where Sylvester McCoy improvises apparently air duct.
Yeah.
I did some research. I read Andrew Cartmell's Script Doctor book where he talks about the making of Paradise Towers and entertains us with a story that he in fact copped off with one of the Kangs. He doesn't name the lucky lady, but...
was it air duct? We'll never know.
So yeah, all these Kangs, they're very attractive young ladies dressed in red.
Apart from the ones who are kind of in their 30s.
Yeah, the ones in the background, not so much.
It's a bit kind of... There was one shot where I was looking at them and going, seriously, you're in your 30s, woman. You're not a Kang anymore. You're heading to being a rezzie.
Get a fucking job. They kind of speak their own language. They kind of created a language for it. So they've gone to that much effort,
So who's playing the Kangs then? Carrie Fisher in a break.
Carrie Fisher just finished shooting Star Wars.
Yeah, pops down, still in England, just sort of, a bit drunk, doesn't know what she's doing. You've given some lines, says yes. Next thing you know, she's playing, She's going, Red Kangs are the best, guys.
So this Star Wars film I've just been in isn't going to go anywhere. I'll play Red Kang.
Yeah.
I might as well play it safe. I might as well do this Doctor Who thing, you know. Since I can't get on Space 1999 or Who Done It.
The Kangs are very 80s, aren't
Oh, they're horribly 80s. They're horribly
They've got the
80s.
massive hair, haven't they?
I think in the 70s, they'd be more like what they thought of as a girl gang in the 70s. They'd be like Suzie Quattro or Joan Jett.
They'll be punks. They'll be punks, won't they? That's what they're going to be.
Be more leather and pins, yeah.
Except, well, they're not going to be pins. They're going to be BBC punks. They're going to be sanitised BBC future punks. So they might look like the space rats, which wouldn't be good.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
I actually think I'm going with the Sunmakers vibe. I think they might be all dressed down a bit like Veet and Marn. Well, not Marn. Marn's got a nice tunic, but Veet, you know, she's all a bit grubby and stuff. But they've got the colours, but a bit more realistic. Because I was looking at the Red Can costumes, and thinking they're quite uniform. They're all a costume, unless they've made them all themselves.
Yeah.
Or Susan's really good at needlework. Maybe that's how they keep her around. Then they seemed a bit too designed, and I thought surely there should be a bit more makeshift and a bit more kind of like Boba Fett. You know, they've got sort of trophies and things. They've got different adornments on them, and there should be more variation in them.
In the meantime, we're also following it. There's a caretaker who's kind of in one of the lower levels, and he finds a bit of yellow tunic, which we're led to understand that the last Yellow Kang's being killed.
You know who played the Yellow Kang, don't you guys? Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren! Yay!
Of course.
Repeat Mirren.
Hello, Helen. Good to have you with us again.
Helen Mirren, quite a successful film actress by
At the height of her
1977, but
career.
still happy to come back and play Yellow Kang.
She was in the same pub as Carrie Fisher. Carrie went a day. Helen Mirren's going to be the only person, along with Ron Grainer, who's credited on every single Doctor Who story by the end of time around.
I'm the clever one, you're the potato one.
So the caretaker finds some clues, and then he's killed as well. They're getting killed by the cleaning machines, the cleaners.
Who's he played by? Does it matter?
He's only in it 2 minutes. He's not in it long.
Yeah.
He's just some young guy, I think. Yeah.
What are the cleaners going to look like?
Boxes.
The only thing I could think of was the machine in the Sontaran experiment on the sort of long spindly legs that goes whap, 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 whap.
Oh yeah, that is terrible.
It does what, Paul?
It goes whap, 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 whap.
Nice.
Are you breaking up, Paul? Oh no, you said that. Right, okay.
I'm trying to remember who the effects designer for the Sunmakers is.
Not information I have.
Carry on talking. I'll get back.
It's either going to be that or a big metal box with, maybe an arm on it or something.
Yeah.
While this is going on, we continue the scene with the Kangs, and the Doctor asks them if there's any boys anywhere around. And they say, what are boys?
I think this is going to be a conversation that Leela's having with them. She's kind of going, where are your mates? How does this tribe work? This tribe makes no sense, you fools.
Yes.
Explain. Smack, 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 smack. Just smacking Carrie Fisher around a bit. It's brilliant television.
So, the only people living in the Paradise Towers are the rezzies, the caretakers, and the Kangs. So there's basically nobody else. It's very structured society, I would say. So, they're in the middle of basically explaining this when the caretakers attack and they capture the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And Leela runs off with the Kangs. What's K9 doing? Is K9 fighting the caretakers?
If you've got Leela and K9 there, then the caretakers are going down.
The caretakers are fucked, basically, aren't they?
One of them's knifed in the back. One of them's Janus thorned.
Yeah.
One of them gets zapped in the crotch, as K9 seems to do in that season for some reason, and slowly falls over, going, ooh.
Oh, we love Spuds.
Oh, please be quiet.
Maybe K9's got some power problems.
Already? You can't have, man. He's had no, there's no reason. Come on, we've got to just do it properly.
I'm just trying to come up with a way that the Doctor can be captured by caretakers. I mean, in the story it works because Mel is just generic companion 1.0. And can't do anything.
Absolutely. No, yeah, absolutely. Where Leela's got a character and agency.
Yeah.
Just a sec. I'm nearly there with who the visual effects was.
Okay, shall I wait for you to...
Peter Day and Peter Logan. Ah.
Oh, okay. The Peters. Yeah.
The Peters.
Mm-hmm.
Day and Logan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're both very competent visual effects designers, so the robots might look quite good. That wasn't worth the 5 minutes it took, was it?
No.
Well, like I say, in the original, caretakers captured the Doctor. Mel runs away. She's sort of running down the corridor and is taken in by Tabby and Tilda. It's hard to know how to adapt that to this.
Tom says run, Leela. Tom shouts at her to run, and so she does what she's told, even though it's against her principles and nature, but does fit the plot.
Yeah.
K9, I think he just sort of stops. He just sort of sits there going, I'll wait here until they come back to me, Master.
Maybe the caretakers are much more threatening in this version. Are actually quite competent.
That would not be difficult.
Hmm. I mean, that is part of the joke, is that they're so shit.
Yeah, but they're too shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, they're not that great in the Sunmakers either, so we're probably going to be stuck with just really shit caretaker guard things.
Yeah.
I think they'll take K9 with them. They'll take K9 back to the Doctor.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Just going to be interrogated or broken up or whatever. So
Yeah.
so Leela's run off to and gets intercepted by Tilda and Tabby.
She's taken in by Tilda and Tabby, or Tabby and Tilda.
And she's standing there saying, "What do you want with me, old ones?" Or something like that, you know.
She would not be Mel about it.
Yeah, no.
Mel was like, "Oh, it's so lovely, lovely rezzies."
Yeah.
They take her in and they sort of kind of give her some cake and stuff, you know.
Leela's got a knife out, and I've just thought, the end of episode 2 isn't much now, is it?
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, well.
Problematic. Yeah, so Tabby and Tilda, they're both very nice old ladies. They do have some large, suspicious-looking bones on their table, which they're going to clear out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leela's straight on them. She's going, "Oh, great," and just gnawing away at it. Yeah, fucking good. Yeah, man, where'd you get this from? Oh, is it a Kang? Oh, well.
We've got some excellent casting possibilities here, because the 70s was the golden age of old ladies on the BBC.
True.
I've got a few names written down here. I've got Irene Handel.
Lovely.
Dandy Nichols. Patricia Hayes. Pat Coombs. The classic old ladies.
How about Joyce Grenfell?
Was she around when?
Was she alive then?
Well, I don't know.
I'm drawn to Dandy Nichols and Patricia Hayes just as a nice sort of double act there.
Just generally, yeah.
Well, how about we have Joyce Grenfell as the Maddie,
the nice one.
Yeah,
the nice one. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's strong casting, and we've got Carrie Fisher in this as well. Let's not forget, and Helen Mirren.
Carrie Fisher and Dandy Nichols together.
Finally.
Let no one say Doctor Who wasn't doing strong female casting in 1977. Let no fucker say that. Sorry, I'm still mildly amazed that Carrie Fisher got accepted without much argument. That's remarkable. What is wrong with you both?
It seems unlikely, but we didn't have any better ideas.
Yeah, it's lack of ideas, isn't it? Okay, fine.
Yeah. We get some backstory. They talk about the great architect who built Paradise Towers.
Yeah.
And there was a war. They can't remember quite what the war was about or who it was with, which seems unlikely, but it's just so they don't have to talk about it, I think. So, yeah, there was a war with someone.
It kind of makes more sense. I mean, obviously, it's based on High Rise by J.G. Ballard, and it kind of makes more sense than High Rise, because in High Rise, there's no reason why they have to stay in the bloody tower block.
Right.
Is there a reason here? But, I mean,
it's a war of some sort.
Well, yeah, but there isn't, is there?
But why did they never go outside? Yeah, that's true.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, when we get the shots of it outside, it looks sunny and nice. You know, there's nothing.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
it's all right. The war's not happening there.
So it makes the same amount of sense as.
Yeah, the same amount of sense as High Rise. Yeah,
about the same amount of sense. Yeah. Yeah.
You hear that? The estate of J.G. Ballard pay us for that. This doesn't come free, you know.
So, Mel's, in the original version, Mel's having a nice conversation with him when the door gets kicked in and it's Pex.
And Leela's just straight across the room and sticks a knife in him.
She probably would, yeah.
And that's one problem solved.
And Pex offers to be a guide. I mean, and as scripted, Pex was meant to be this kind of big muscle man.
Yeah.
Who's actually a carrot. But of course, as we know, in the production, I read, you see, Andrew Cartmell's book basically says they couldn't find a muscle man who could do the comedy. So they cast Howard Cook.
But in 1977, Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't a star yet.
Yeah. He was on Magpie.
So he's just been on Magpie. He was in the same pub. He was in the same pub as Carrie and Helen. And Carrie said, "Come on, it'll be fun." And he went,
these old ladies bothering you.
It's feasible. This could have happened. He'd have jumped at the chance. He'd have jumped at the chance.
I'm going to allow it. That's
Well, I was thinking Dave Prowse as a more believable.
Probably more likely.
Oh, Dave Prowse does have his own joy, though.
He does.
Are these old ladies bothering you? They must be out of their tiny minds. Can we alternate them between episodes? I mean, they're both good. Should we flip a coin?
Yeah. The Pex Brothers.
Yes, there's two of them. The Pex Brothers.
The Pex Brothers. Excellent. Excellent.
Oh,
So
we've turned brother.
We've turned one largely extraneous character into two.
Just because we can't decide which accent's funnier, and then they're brothers.
And then they're brothers. Yeah. So glorious. Okay, so there's Dave Prowse and Arnold Schwarzenegger roaming around the place, kind of bashing in doors randomly and announcing themselves.
Can we give any explanation to how they're brothers and one's from Austria, one's from Somerset?
No, get out. Do it now. The caretaker's a choir boys next to me.
You are disgusting.
Tom's not doing much. There's not much for Tom to do with all this shit going on.
Well, yeah, I've skipped past a lot of that, but what happens basically is the Doctor is being captured by the deputy caretaker, played in 1987 by Clive Merrison. I suppose it probably could Clive Merrison in 1977. Really.
Well, we're doing well with the casting so far. Let's not stop the imagination trail. How about it's Paul Darrow?
Again?
Yeah, but come on, Paul Darrow in a scene with Arnie. All right, you pick something. It's got to be of the same caliber.
Clive Merrison's very good in it.
He is, with some awful dialogue.
Yeah.
He's got the skill to pull it off. Got the experience, you know.
Yeah.
How about Derek Griffiths?
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that actually. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Hurrah.
Okay. Excellent.
Derek Griffiths and Arnold Schwarzenegger are seen together. Mint.
So, the Doctor and the deputy caretaker meet a cleaner, so they have to run away from that. And eventually they make it to the chief caretaker. Right.
That worked out well timing-wise. Nice one.
It did, rather. Yeah. They brought before him Richard Breyer's basically playing him as Hitler.
Yeah.
So he greets the Doctor as the great architect, gives him a big hug. I think this is going well. And then he says, kill him. End of episode.
Johnny Mesurier.
Wow.
Fuck yeah. What do you think of those apples?
That's pretty different.
Yeah.
You can't even think of it. That's how happily rad it is.
See, I'm still fond of Graham Crowden. I quite like the idea of Graham Crowden just going nuts with it.
Right. Oh, I suppose we won't have them with Soldies, yeah.
See, my thought was even more random because I was thinking John Thor.
That's my favourite.
Because he could kind of do the comedy aspect.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah.
And he could totally play it as Jack Regan.
You bastard.
You great architect.
Get your trousers on. You're nicked.
So the caretakers are clearly fascists. It's not subtle. I mean, at one point they do this kind of comedy salute. They do this salute where they put their finger across their top lip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bit on the nose.
Oh, very good. John Thor's not going to have any of that, is he? What are you doing, you bastards? Get out. Pillowcases.
Yeah.
Do we have any fondness for Richard Breyers? I quite enjoyed him.
You know what? Yeah, having slagged him off a couple of days ago when I just watched episode 1, having crammed in 3, 4, and 5, it felt like it, over dinner this evening before time ran because I'm conscientious-ish. I did think to myself, well, it's terribly entertaining. It's not any good. It's actually a really fun, very good performance. It's just the wrong performance.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not his fault. Somebody should have stopped him.
It's partially his fault, though.
I think that this year, I mean, we got Andrew Cartmel as the script editor. I mean, I'm talking 1987.
Yes.
Andrew Cartmel was the script editor. He wasn't a Doctor Who fan. He wasn't terribly familiar with the show. I get the impression, particularly from season 24, that he thought he was making a kind of a light comedy.
It's not, but it's not his call. It's the director's job. That comes from director and producer, really. It's nothing. The script editor knows it's nothing to do with him.
Well, you get 3 comedy scripts in a row with Paradise Towers, Tales of the Binnermen, Dragonfire. They're all pretty much played for laughs. Yeah. And I think it's only later on that maybe he saw the possibilities. That's my impression anyway. But,
I think he said as much in interviews, yeah.
The thing is, I mean, GNT will have seen the dailies as well, so he could have said...
GNT would have seen rehearsals.
But he wasn't a script man. He was, song and dance man.
No, but he was known sometimes to go in and say to people, just tone it down a bit, will you? Or say to directors, tell them to tone it down. Earlier on.
Apparently, he did tell Richard Breyers to tone it down a bit.
Jesus Christ.
Research. Yeah.
Wow.
And
what was it like
Richard
before?
Breyers toned it down a bit. So imagine the Paradise Towers we could have had.
I was watching episode 4 and watching his extraordinary performance as Croagnon and thinking that's exactly the sort of performance that any of the 3 of us would have done back in our amateur film days in the 90s. When it was a laugh. Yes, I'll just ridiculously overplay this because I want to. And it doesn't matter. And no one's going to stop me. But
no one did.
This was the beef, and no one did in Paradise Star. I don't know what happened. It's just a shame. But anyway, John Thor is not going to be doing that. John Thor's going to be amazing.
So we're getting into episode 2. The Doctor's execution is delayed when the chief caretaker is called to emergency. It's just an excuse, really. They find a way to get him out of the room.
Yeah.
And what he's going to, he ends up going to a meeting with some other caretakers, tell him not to panic. So it's a bit thin.
Yeah.
And while he's away, the Doctor bamboozles the deputy chief caretaker and the guards using a strategy around the rule book, which probably wouldn't fool a 5-year-old.
I thought it was that was one of the bits I remember even at the time sitting there thinking, oh, come off it. They can't be that thick. It really undermines the caretakers. Too thick, you know.
It's played for laughs, and you're like, as a comedy scene, yes, it's great, but it makes no sense.
Tom, however, is going to cruise it.
Yeah.
Tom's going to love this scene. Tom, we haven't talked about what Tom's doing in this.
Tom would be doing it differently, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Because of all the amazing cast we've got going on. And it is, I think it's one of my favourite casts yet, if not my favourite. But it's Tom finally getting a chance to do something Tomish in this scene. Don't know what.
He would be bamboozling them, but in a completely different way, wouldn't he? He'd be destroying them with his personality, really.
Yeah. He'd be turning their kind of lack against them in that way.
Yeah.
He'd be convincing them he's in charge.
Yeah.
Or he'd convincing them he's an inspector or something like that. Actually, guys, you know, I'm here to look on the, you know, do you really like the chief inspector? Do you want to tell me about him? Tell me about him. You know, I've got a survey form. All like that. Pull out of his pocket.
Yeah. Quite like the idea of him doing that scene where he kind of spins around, points a light in their face, that kind of thing, and just turns the tables on. He could pull that off.
Do you think we could get away with having the deputy played by Dennis Waterman? With the pair of them doing a sort of Morgan and Wise style guest appearance.
If we've got Prowse and Schwarzenegger as the Pex Brothers, then yes, of course we can.
I was going to say the Sweeney cast are massive stars for this point, aren't they? But yeah, we do have Schwarzenegger and Prowse in this.
Yeah, but they aren't massive stars yet.
Not quite the Terminator yet. So yeah.
No, not. What was the first thing he was in? Oh God, no, that's 1973 or something, or 72. It's terrible. Hercules in New York. It's extraordinary. If you haven't seen it, see it once.
Oh, okay.
It's awful. He's dubbed all the way through.
He could probably only speak German at that point, couldn't he? So.
Well, he's making English mouth movements.
Oh, okay.
Or at least vaguely English mouth movements. But there's some American voices coming out going, "Father of the gods, why must I do this?" And it's Arnie. And since we all know his voice so well now, it's just what? What? But yeah, sorry, I digress. Anyway, he's in this.
Yeah. So by some strategy, the Doctor escapes.
Many
K9. Has he got K9 with him?
Yeah, K9. Actually, we don't need to do bamboozlement at all. He can almost bamboozle, and he's bamboozled his way nearly out, and then one of them goes, "Hang on a minute," he goes shooting K9, and he stuns him in the crotch. Yeah. And the caretaker goes, "Oh," and falls over.
Oh, we love Spuds. Yeah.
Oh dear. And the other one goes, "Blimey, look at that." While the Doctor's escaping, and K9's really slowly going.
Yes, he really is.
And he makes that hideous fucking racket while going at 0.1 mile of an hour.
And then you cut to some footage that they sped up when it's silent, and it's
usually pan up, or you cut to Tom going, "Come on, K9," and it's just cut. He's already and Tom looking ahead like K9's at his feet by now. K9's nowhere near us. K9's across the other end of the studio, TC1. He'll get there. And Dudley Simpson's giving it some ding 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 ding.
Yeah, there's all those bits where you kind of wish they'd turned the sound down, but they actually haven't. They've just left that in.
Why didn't they just take it down in the mix, man? Yeah. You know, no one. They very quickly learn that no one should talk while K9's moving. He does get significantly better the next season. He's significantly quieter and better. But yeah, he's noisy in season 15.
How long, K9?
Insufficient data.
Yeah, you never fucking know the answer when it's important.
So I should mention that we learn pretty early on that the chief caretaker is behind these cleaning machines doing all these murders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bastard.
There's nothing worse than a bent copper.
They're taking bodies down to the basement where he's got this. It's kind of coded as if it's a monster. It's two glowing
eyes, neon eyes.
Yeah.
In a moment of extraordinary shitness
and some smoke. Yeah, it's not threatening.
It's not. It's not. This is going to be on location. This is going to be down in the tunnels in Camden, like in the Sunmakers, that using Blake 7 as well. And I think a Cro-Magnon, I don't know, maybe he's like the core from Blake 7 also. Maybe he's a giant, big, pulsating brain that lives at the centre of Ultra World.
Yeah.
I remember that brain. That brain scared me.
It scared me as well.
We learn later, as you say, it's Cro-Magnon, and he's in the basement going, hungry! Like Audrey 2. Feed me, Seymour!
Who's playing the voice of Cro-Magnon then? Is it just John Thorpe putting the voice?
Valentine Dial.
Valentine Dial.
Probably John Leeson.
Gabriel Wolfe.
Burn through all our best casting ideas.
Yeah. Well, Helen could come back. Cro-Magnon could be a woman. You know, if the Yellow Kang didn't say anything apart from IE, then Helen can double up and you know, spare before she heads back to the pub.
Get your fag out, Helen, and do the lines.
Get your fag out, yeah.
Should explain to our American listeners that a fag is a cigarette.
If we were going to have Cro-Magnon being a woman, I think it'd be good to have like Fenella Fielding or somebody doing the voice of. Like the blue voice in Dougal and the Blue Cat.
Blue is beautiful. Blue is best. I'm blue. I'm beautiful. I'm best.
So does that mean that when John Thor is possessed, he's going to have the woman's voice? Because that's magnificent. John Thor with Fenella Fielding's voice being taken on by Arnie and Dave Prowse, while Carrie Fisher watches all in red.
Pex Brothers.
It's the Pex Brothers, yeah.
It sounds like a removals firm, doesn't it? The Pex Brothers.
It does. And they'd be good at it.
They do demand their own series, really, don't they?
It would be like the Adventures of Robert Baldick that have managed one episode and it just didn't go to series.
They'd realise that the two of them are actually physically too big to fit on the screen at the same time.
It's the show that was made for widescreen.
Yeah.
So it's a bit bitty, this episode, but we also get some scenes with Tabby and Tilda, who are clearly cannibals. I mean, this is not something that's held back as a revelation. They're clearly cannibals.
No. Yeah.
And they're visited by their neighbour, Maddie, who's passing on the gossip, who we've decided was...
Joyce Grenfell.
Joyce Grenfell. For some reason, I was thinking Cloella Benjamin, who wouldn't have been remotely old enough at the time.
Yeah, she'd have been young then. Yeah.
She can be the Blue Kang leader.
But she's young now.
Yeah, she is the weird.
I know, she has not aged.
Astoundingly, she looks the same now.
Look at Josette Simon. Have you seen Josette Simon?
True.
It's not right. It's against nature.
They're taking their youth out of us.
Yeah, they are. They are.
There's something in those Caribbean genes.
That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
Episodes 2 and 3 are messy and padded and crap.
They jump all over the place. It's hard to summarise what's going on.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of scenes. The Doctor kind of joins the Red Kangs again.
Yeah.
And he kind of makes friends with them by showing them how to get a Coke out of a Coke machine.
Like you do.
Sonic screwdriver, easy.
Mysterious to them for some reason. Yeah. And then the caretakers attack them again, I think. Meanwhile, Leela's walking around with the Pex Brothers, and they get some scenes. Stuff happens.
Oh, is this where Pex is like pulling things off the wall and bending them and shit for no reason?
Yeah, there's that.
And Mel's going, well, that's twatty. What good's that? Which quite rightly. Okay, that scene's going to be great.
Look at me, see how strong I am.
Well, I think you'll find I can bend more things than you, my old butt.
Look at all that bending.
And Leela just leaves them to it and walks off, and they're just left there in the corridor bending things for the rest of the episodes. It's good. You know,
just Janus Storm the pair of them.
Just Janus Storm the pair of them and walk off, you know. Yeah. Right, I think I'll go to the pool then. And she gets in the lift and goes to the pool immediately. And that's it, you know, because that's all that Mel does in the middle. She tries to get to the pool for 2 episodes.
They get captured by the Blue Kangs.
Oh, yeah.
Who reveal the information that Pex is a coward.
I am not a coward.
How dare you?
Well, you two just improvised episodes of the Pex Brothers.
I'm very brave.
Quiet, girls.
Okay, yeah. So Mel does leave them to it in the original version. So yeah, this is where she returns to Tabby and Tilda, which turns out to be a bad idea.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger and David Prowse are left there being basically completely fucked over by a bunch of girls.
By the Kangs,
That's fantastic.
Yeah. They just kind of, I think they just...
Oh, why? Stop hitting me.
They don't do much.
Stop calling me a cowardly cutlet.
Will hurt my feelings.
This is very destructive to our psyches, I'm telling you.
Yeah, so we get the climax episode 2, which is supposedly Leela in this version getting threatened by a pair of old ladies with toasting forks.
So she eviscerates them, just slices them right up the middle. 1, 2, gone. Because, I mean, they're dead soon anyway.
They do. I mean, what happens is the cleaners drag them into the waste disposal unit.
That's terrible, I have to say, that scene.
It's horrible. It's awful. Awful.
Yeah, it's not a good scene.
No,
yeah.
No.
Pex breaks in as well.
Oh, yeah. Both of them? Is one coming through the door, the other through the wall?
Yeah. I imagine so. Yeah.
Oh.
You can't talk like that.
Oh.
Arnie picks him up, slaps him, and chucks him in the waste disposal. Imagine Arnie fighting Patricia Hayes.
Oh, there must be Photoshop for this episode. There must be Photoshop.
In you go, you stupid old woman.
Go on, put them in the waste disposal. Do it now.
Get to the chopper.
Oh, fucking hell.
It serves you right.
No, they won't be doing that again. Now remember, Leela, I won't always be here when you're talking to rezzies. No.
I think the Pex Brothers shouldn't die at the end of this. They make us survive.
And go off in the TARDIS with them for the rest of season 15. It'll be fantastic. Imagine the invasion of time with them. Oh, the Pex Brothers are up there with Tom Pork.
You are disgusting.
Once the rezzies are dead, Leela, Mel in the original, finds a map showing that there's 304 floors in Paradise Towers, and they're on floor 109. And she's still trying to get to the pool for fuck knows what. Oh no, she wants to meet the doctor.
To meet the doctor, there is actually a point by that point. Yeah,
there is actually justification.
That's their rendezvous.
She doesn't just go.
For some reason, you know, the most inaccessible part of the building from where they are. Let's meet there.
Let's meet there.
Twat.
Yeah. She's not just still determined to have a swim.
No.
Although that said,
she may be feeling a bit dirty after exposure to the Pex Brothers for a bit now. She might just want to kind of go, oh, fuck me, I need to have a swim now. Seriously, this is a killing thing otherwise. Seriously, I take one step and they just bend things behind me. I cannot get anything done.
So meanwhile, the doctor is doing stuff. He's with the Red Kangs. That's right.
Yes, and K9.
Yeah.
And K9.
Excellent.
And the caretakers are attacking again.
I bet the Red Kangs think K9 is ice hot.
Yeah.
And he'll waggle his ears and go, affirmative, ice hot. Or something.
Yeah, so the doctor waits in Red Kang HQ so he can meet the caretakers and the Kangs can escape out.
And aren't they watching telly at that point?
He does watch some telly.
They're watching
I think that might be later on.
Oh, okay.
It might be later on.
Fine.
Yeah, he gets brought before the chief caretaker again.
Oh, yeah, he buys time.
And that's when we get the interrogation scene where he's turning it on them with the sort of shining the light in each other's eyes.
I think K9 goes with the Red Kangs at this point.
That makes sense.
It would make sense a bit later. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When he goes, how did you find me? It's kind of
yeah. So the doctor lets himself get captured, which is quite a Tom thing to do.
Yeah.
Quite confident.
Yeah.
I've got my way out of this. And he's quite useful because he gets some information. As we say, the chief caretaker gets called away again.
To go and see Joyce Grenfell, though, isn't it? It's to go and see Joyce Grenfell, though. So that's a lovely scene. That's John Thor and Joyce Grenfell.
So he leaves the doctor with a prospectus, which is talking about Croagnon, the great architect.
Why don't you read about Croagnon, you slag?
You know, when he's watching the thing about the creation of Paradise Towers, I couldn't help remembering that thing about Birmingham with Telly Savalas.
I spent hours in the beautiful 150-year-old botanical gardens, and there are 10 acres of it. St. Edburgus and the old grammar school, it's like looking into the past, and it's hard to realize that all this is so near to the hustle and bustle of a really great metropolis. I can't sing it like he can, but I can assure you, this is my kind of town.
So is Telly Savalas doing the voiceover on the DVD that Tom's... It's not going to be a DVD, is it? It's going to be a U-matic cassette or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool. Telly Savalas as well. Sweet, nice. And good to waste him on that. That's very timely.
Yes. That's probably the only way they'd get him at that
Waste
time.
him.
Yeah, so you're right. The chief caretaker goes to see Maddie and basically bribes her with Tabby and Tilda's department to keep quiet. So, yeah, the doctor gets rescued again by the Red Kangs and K9.
Led by Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher and K9 saving the day. This is excellent. This is
Quite a
tremendous.
combination.
Yep,
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher just shooting people down and with a crossbow, and K9 zapping them in the crotch. Brilliant. I think Carrie's a bit like she's in the Star Wars Holiday Special. I think she might be a bit out of it.
Yeah.
I think Carrie's not all there for this.
I think Carrie's taken something and woken up and found that she's agreed to be a Doctor Who.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then she went into the rehearsal room on day one, saw the cast, and took something else, and stayed there for the duration. You would, let's face it.
Yeah. She's not wearing her lovely white dress from Star Wars anymore. She's dressed as a Kang. So that's good.
No, she's dressed as a Kang. She's all dressed down. And she's got her hair down. All red or something. Well, she's dressed as a punk, isn't she? She's dressed as a science fiction punk.
Yeah, science fiction punk. Yeah. So we're kind of learning stuff here. We're learning that Cragnon's built various other places, including Miracle City. I think one or two others get mentioned. But he hated the residents. He wasn't happy with having people actually live in there. Yeah. And actually got banished, I think.
Yeah.
And then
the
built
war happened.
Paradise Towers under false pretenses or something like that. Yeah, something happened.
Yeah.
Some shit went down.
Yeah.
Shit got real.
Shit did real. Yeah.
Yeah. So we should come back to Leela and the Pexes. Okay, it's really bitty, but what happens is they're getting chased by cleaning machines, and then they get stuck in the lift for a bit. The lift's going up and down.
Fucking cleaner. Now you be very careful of these domestic appliances.
And then they end up in the basement for a while and have a real panic attack. And I think it's becoming clear that the creature in the basement is Coragnon, trapped in the building. Yeah, it's been built into the building to kind of keep them under control.
It's a brain, a giant brain.
And he's getting a bit impatient. And the chief caretaker actually gets taken down by a clean machine. He's confronted and taken to see Coragnon in the basement. Coragnon says he needs him. And he pulls him into his kind of
glowing eyes bit thing.
Yeah, glowing eyes bit. Yeah. And a big tube goes down over his head. Yeah. Which the Doctor witnesses. Everyone goes down to the basement and kind of see stuff that's going on.
They all just stand there. There's a lot of standing around watching.
There's a lot of standing around. The Doctor's running up and down. Yeah. He gets captured by a cleaning machine, a cleaner. And then
there's a claw to his throat. And then
there's a claw to his throat. End of episode.
So what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 4. The Pexers just walk in and just take one half of the robot each and just wrench it apart.
I wish that happened.
I cleaned him up.
Start of the next episode, he just escapes.
He just escapes. It's just bollocks.
It's rubbish. And the chief caretaker re-emerges as Zombie Cracknon.
Yay! With the voice of Fenella Fielding.
With the voice of Fenella Fielding. Coming out of John Thorpe. And he's standing there going, what the fuck is happening?
He looked like a man, but he looked like a woman.
So Cragnon's really upset having all these residents dirtying up his nice building, and he's determined to kill them all. He's gonna solve that problem once and for all.
The towers have become disgustingly untidy. The whole place is littered with flesh.
And Leela makes it to the pool.
Oh, Leela, I forgot about her. Jesus Christ, yeah, she's having a swim for some reason.
She decides to have a swim
with the Pexes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
With the Pexes.
Are the Pexes having a swim as well?
No, the Pexes are not having a swim.
No, they're just down there going, why are we here?
Yeah, well, Arnie would rust, so that wouldn't work.
They're just lifting heavy
Dave
things.
Dave Brown would just sink, Probably both of them would just sink, actually.
They're just lifting chairs and tables and things at the side of the pool. Look what I can lift.
Yes, I wish I didn't keep losing me birds. Then learn to swim, young man. Learn to swim.
In the original, obviously, Mel gets in the pool and is attacked by kind of crab in the pool.
Yeah. So again, Leela has that done in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Apparently, they filmed this in some millionaire's house.
Yeah.
Somewhere or other, and he wasn't there. There'd been no heating in the pool for months.
Yeah.
And poor old Bonnie Langford was having to go.
It looks cold. It's that typical thing where it's they shoot in England and it's meant to be sunny and wonderful in this nirvana, and it just looks like a back garden with a pool in it. And it looks cold and nasty.
A brick room with some curtains.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
It's actually livened up considerably by having Arnie and David Prowse standing there lifting things. It seriously makes it a whole lot better.
I guess it would still be on location in the 70s. They'd probably still do it location somewhere. Yeah.
It'll be on. It's probably at the top of the building, the cigarette factory where they shot the Sunmakers. They put a paddling pool there. It's kind of like, there you go.
A paddling pool.
Yeah, man.
Disused mental hospital from invasion time.
It'll be that one from the Invasion of Time. It'll be all enclosed. There'll be one opening. There'll be a glass shot, maybe. If we're lucky. If we're unlucky, there'll be a studio CSO shot on the film background that's going all over the place.
Yeah, and the cleaning machine. I guess it's not going to look all that impressive either, really, is it? Probably.
It might be all right. It might be all right. I mean, it's not like they couldn't make things in the 70s. Yeah, it's a couple of good effects designers, and Peter Day he'd done the Weed Creature, so he knows about being in water and dealing with things.
He can hold his breath.
He can hold his breath forever, Peter Day.
Yeah.
He was amazing. So they've got him there. That's fine. Maybe Peter Day's in a costume. Maybe he's being a robot. Maybe it's a costume rather than a rock puppet. Which apparently was Perspex rods, so you couldn't see them in the water, and it mostly works.
Yeah, that's quite good actually. Yeah. So episode 4 is about bringing people together.
Oh, great!
Bringing people together.
Well, this is going to be mental.
The Doctor unites the blue Kangs and the red Kangs.
Right. Who's the blue Kang leader?
I'm not sure. Catherine Cusack in.
Yeah. Did we cast someone?
I don't think we did.
Can we have Floella Benjamin
unless
then?
it's Carrie Fisher, or is she a red Kang?
No, Carrie Fisher's a red Kang. Carrie Fisher and Floella Benjamin as the two Kang leaders. That'd be great.
Okay, Floella Benjamin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facing face to face with Carrie Fisher.
With Carrie Fisher, absolutely. As the red and blue Kangs. With Arnie and Dave in the background. Tom just standing there going, I don't know what I'm here for. What's the point? No one's actually, for once, no one is looking at me.
Well, yeah, they all go up to floor 304, so they kind of meet up there. Yeah. So the Doctor and the Kangs
Joyce Grenfell.
Yeah, that's how they join Leela and the Pexes on the top floor. Joyce Grenfell arrives.
Yep.
All asking for help.
Yep.
There's a lot of talk about
everyone needs to come together. A lot of talk, too much talk, and then Derek Griffiths turns up as well.
Derek Griffiths turns up as the caretakers.
Magical.
Yeah.
This is a great scene. This is one of the most memorable scenes in all of Doctor Who.
That's quite a cast to have all in one room. Yeah.
Tom wakes up and gives a speech and unites them all, and they all believe him because he's Tom.
Yeah,
cool. Leela's doing the backstroke. Yeah, the Pexes are wrestling the robot apart happily. I can lift this bit. I lift that one. No, that's two Arnies. That's wrong. I'm tired.
Well, you live this bit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, so they all kind of need to be on the top floor because Zombie Cragnon is kind of working his way up the building towards them. He's reached floor 115.
He's crossing off his things, going, bastards. Yeah. Well, actually, he's not. He's going, bastards.
Because he's still doing Philadelphia.
But his mouth's going, bastards.
So, he's kind of killed everyone below that point. So, why couldn't they run out the front door? What is outside?
Yeah, what is outside? I don't know. Maybe there's just no bottom floor.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of his really bad pieces of architecture. He forgot a bottom floor. So it's just
the basement. You go from floor 2 to the basement, and you're like, "There's no way out."
Yeah.
Maybe that would explain it.
Conceptually bad design. Ground floor absence. It's kind of like, crying on your ground floors. You're weak on your ground floors, mate. No, I'm not, darling.
The bottom 2 floors are solid lead.
Oh, not for long. Come, fellow Pex. Well, I'm not going to punch lead with you again. I'm fed up with that. You're a choir boy.
So they all work together. They come up with a plan to fight the cleaners.
It's a shit plan.
It is.
It's all.
Leela's better. Leela's taking charge here. This will work really well for her. She's just going, right, you strategic points, we'll do this, and this. A child of the 17 would get away with the way you do. I'm doing it.
This is where we get K9 fighting the cleaners, isn't it?
K9 fighting the cleaners. We get Leela, K9, Floella Benjamin, and Carrie actual Fisher fighting the cleaners.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. 1977, Doctor Who.
So they're all kind of having a big battle.
Yeah.
The Doctor comes up with a shit plan.
Yeah.
Which is that he's going to tempt Zombie Cragnon out of the caretaker base using his enormous brain.
Yep.
Which Zombie Cragnon can't resist.
Indeed. Yep.
Brains.
Yep.
He loves brains.
Well, he was an enormous brain once. Brains, darling, brains. I've got to remember.
Just doing the zombie thing. I've kind of.
Okay. You're getting sucked in a lot. You got sucked in by Graham Crowden earlier. Now you're getting sucked in by Richard. Careful, Baz. Careful. Careful. Down with this sort of thing.
So I'm just imagining getting sucked in by a ground crowd.
No! No!
In the original version of the 1987 version, Pex volunteers to fetch Caragnon.
Just goes, picks him up, and I bring. Why are you going to carry him for this corridor? No, he's mine.
Yeah, in a moment of unexpected heroism, he offers to bring him to the trap.
Yeah.
And it's made very clear that he needs to take his time to give him time to set up the trap. And then, of course, he loses his nerve and he starts going, hey, let's speed up.
You do get that nice tender moment, though, where Carrie Fisher's looking at the Pexers with almost tenderly for a moment, but then hands them some dynamite.
Yeah, there's a bit of frisson there.
Obviously, the Dave Prowse one puts it down going, no, this is very dangerous. Arnie's just putting it in his mouth going, oh.
I blew out Caragnon for you.
Yeah. Because that's how it's going to go, isn't it? There's only going to be one Pex left at the end of this. But there's going to be a Pex left.
That's good, yeah. Well, that's basically the climax, they arrive before the Doctor's ready. So Pex has to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
He throws himself both through the door, pulls the pin out with his teeth, blows them both up.
Absolutely. Blows the mother away.
I guess if it's Arnie, he's probably still going to come up the stairs at the end afterwards going,
So Arnold Schwarzenegger has blown up John Thor sounding like Vanilla Fielding. Neat.
Yes.
And there's quite a sad little ending. It's quite tender there. The Kangs have a funeral for Pex.
Yeah.
Or not, I guess, if he's all right.
Yeah.
Arnie's just there in his whipped clothes going,
why?
Get to the chopper. Yeah, everyone's there. The Doctor's made an honorary Kang.
Yes.
And the TARDIS leaves, leaving some graffiti on the wall saying Pex lives.
Yes.
But Pexes lives.
Yeah.
The Pexes live.
Pexes
both live.
Both live.
Pexes both live.
Are actually alive.
And then so I think one of the caretakers just comes in and starts scrubbing it off, going, it's too complicated. Let it be. And off we go to the credits. Great. Ensplinment. It's immeasurably better.
I mean, it's got the Pex Brothers in it.
It's got the Pex Brothers.
I think in the 1970s they would tidy up the plot and kind of reduce some of the bouncing around from place to place and the pointless kind of bitty little scenes.
Episodes 2 and 3 would matter a bit more.
That's inexperience, basically. It's inexperience by the script editor and the writer.
Yeah.
But it's all over the place.
It's all over the place. Cool.
It really shows when you were reading out the story there, Baz, that it's about 4 set pieces that they just use again and again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a thing with the Sylvester McCoy era in general, is that most episodes will have quite a lot of talking and then maybe 1 or 2 set pieces, like you say, which are kind of, they're not tied into the rest of it particularly. It's just, right, this is the set piece. But a lot of the rest of it will just be fairly pointless, really, just jumping around, people talking about the plot, which, I mean, I'm not saying that as a criticism, but it is a sort of a pattern to the stories in that period.
You are saying it's criticism, though, aren't you?
It kind of is.
It is. It's a fair one, though. I mean,
I'm not as down on the Sylvester McCoy era as Rupert is, but it is fair that structurally a lot of the stories are lacking.
Okay, should we do marks out of 10?
No.
I don't mind doing marks out of 10. I think Paradise Towers, to be fair, I think is quite good. I know I've kind of launched into a thing about the plot there, but I think basically there's a good story in there, and I would give this maybe 8 out of 10.
I mean, for the cast alone, I'm tempted to give it 10 because the cast is stellar and astonishing. I don't think it's ever going to be a classic. I think there's a lot wrong with the script. If we're not changing it, if we're not adapting it to 3 episodes, at least it could so lose an episode worth of the same thing happening again. So I probably a 7.5.
Yeah.
The halves for Helen's appearance at the very beginning as the Yellow Kang, though.
And she'd make a lovely Yellow Kang. Should be great.
Yeah. I was thinking about a 7. I think it's something that would probably be quite average. And at the time, people would think it was average, but they'd release it on Blu-ray now, and it would have a documentary about the dehumanizing effect Did I freeze there?
Yep.
It sounded great. You went Blu-ray.
Yeah, it was excellent.
It was amazing. You
might
want to say that bit again, but it's great.
Yeah. No, keep that. But that's all it.
How far did we get my marks out of
You
10?
said something. You said no. You said something about it being released today on Blu-ray, and then we lost you.
It was a Blu-ray.
Yeah, it would be released on Blu-ray these days, and it would have a sort of lengthy documentary about the dehumanizing effect of tower blocks in the 70s.
No, it wouldn't. It would have a documentary where they're interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger, the single most famous person ever to have been involved in Doctor Who.
You're not going to get hold of him to be able to interview. It'd be like, oh, I'm not talking to you.
He might be fine about it. He might go, oh, yeah, Doctor Who gave me the break. Led me to being president, which he now is.
I'm now doing a big Finish series.
Yeah, the Pex Brothers are still going to be a big Finish series, yeah.
Yeah, well, Dave Prowse is not around to do it anymore. They'd have John Coleshaw doing Dave Prowse, but, you know.
They would. John Coleshaw doing Dave Prowse and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Perfect. That's great. Of course, that's going to happen.
So that's got 10 out of 10. That's
with occasional appearances by Louise Jameson turning up as leader just to kind of slap them around a bit and go, get a move on, do something. A child of the Sever team, I tell you. I'm not a child of the Sever team. Sorry, that just sounded racist.
Actually, a few years ago, they probably could have got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Maybe. Yeah. He seems to live with goats or something, doesn't he?
7 or 8 years ago, when his career was on a downturn.
I've got a lot of respect for him, though. Some of the things he's released recently, talking about Ukraine and talking directly to Russians and saying, you know,
indeed.
He comes out with a lot of good stuff.
Very, very thoughtful and considered and reasonable. Yeah. But let's not forget, you know, he got his big break in 1977 playing one of the Pex Brothers in Doctor Who and the Paradise
Let's
Towers.
get him on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get on here for an episode. Yeah.
Do you want to hear the numbers?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's do the numbers.
Seems to happen a lot in Time Ram. We've got Sylvester McCoy.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, he just won't go away.
He's gonna have a sort of 7-year run.
He is. He's gonna be our Tom Baker.
Yeah.
And our story is number 69.
69.
Everyone runs to their various.
It is. Oh, this is excellent. Sylvester McCoy in The Green Death.
Yeah. I've not a clue about how that works.
Yeah.
But it's a story where Mel leaves, presumably.
Mel leaves in The Green Death.
Yeah,
and
she's
it's very sad.
She's going to marry a professor.
Yeah.
Or does Ace leave? Because she's always called him Dr. Professor, you see. So, it's it's kind of new series.
Yeah, but would Ace leave getting married? It's a bit.
If he survives it. Who knows? Who knows? In the mysteries of the Ram.
Well, there we go. Sylvester McCoy in The Green Death, coming soon to a cinema near you in Technicolor, but mainly green. So that's it for another edition of Time Ram, apparently.
Hey.
So, good night, good day, goodbye.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good morning.
Oh.
Now get off my land.
You are disgusting.
Well, listener, that was Time Ram. Thank you for listening. If you would like to get in touch with us, we can be found on Twitter. I'm at PaulFerry8. Baz is at BazTimeRam, and Rupert is at Rupert Booth. We also have a Facebook page. Feel free to drop in. I need to thank Ben Jones for providing our music. If you would like to support the production of Time Ram, please consider setting up a subscription at Patreon, where you can get all kinds of goodies. Join us next time for, well, more of the same.
In a world where only the strong survive, the strongest of all are the Pex Brothers.
starring Arnold Schwarzenegger
Caretaker's a choir boys next to me.
and Dave Browse.
They must be out of their tiny minds.
Also starring John Thor,
Get your trousers on. You're nicked.
Dandy Nichols,
You can't count the mornings because there ain't no telly on in the morning.
and Carrie Fisher.
You wanna fuck?
Do it now! Now you be very careful of these domestic appliances. Fucking clean up. This is very disruptive to our psyches, I'm telling you. I cleaned him up.
Nothing can stop them.
I cleaned him up. I cleaned him up. Are you fed up with that?
The Pex Brothers. Coming to a cinema near you soon. Don't miss it.